Hello everyone, I'm Major Jip, and today I'm taking a look at some other sort of computer gaming accessories. I've taken a look at a lot of keyboards, but sometimes something just crosses my path I just have to take a look at. And these are one of those cases. This is a gaming mouse and a gaming headset. This is purchased from a discount store chain called Ollies, and I don't know where they get some of their retail prices from, because if you go in there, sometimes you find genuinely good deals, and then other times you find stuff like this. And you know, they say their price is $29.99. Our price was $15. But there's some stuff that the retail price is just ridiculously marked up compared to the actual, which is how they make their money, I guess. I mean, that's just complaining about a company's business model. Anyway, so I'm going to take a look at both of these. I have a sneaking suspicion they're not going to be great, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? So I'll set the gaming headset aside, because I feel like that's going to be more involved. And I will start with the gaming mouse, which has a single... Okay. Now this was $5. How much gaming mouse do you get for $5? I'd assume not much. But it does have multi-color backlighting. Is that controllable, or is that just an LED that cycles through colors? I'm assuming an LED that cycles through colors. And, I mean, at first feeling, it feels cheap. That's not too much of a surprise, I suppose. Okay, so let's compare that to a more well-known mouse. I mean, it feels small. I don't care for the size of it. But let's compare that to a G602 by Logitech. This is a more common sort of design of mouse, if there is a common design for gaming mice, because every company kind of does their own thing. But this is what I would sort of take as a typical gaming mouse. It's going to have that sort of odd design. Try and put a little bit of a scoop over there to keep your thumb away, whereas this has none of that and is tiny. Does it function as a mouse? That's the main level of importance. So I'll put this aside for now, and I will plug this in, see what it looks like. Now let's take a look at the gaming headset. I'm going to try my best to not make this a very long running video, because I don't think they're going to be worth it. But I'm curious, you know? Sometimes it's fun to just take a look at something that's kinda cheap and ridiculous. If I can get into the box, that is. This will be when I stab myself on camera. Oh, they have more security on this packaging. Yeah, I know that's out of focus, but... it's just shoved in a box. And what do we have? How long is the cord? Now, I'm not going to compare these to a decent set of headphones, but what I'm going to compare this to is something in a little bit of a similar price range. Something I don't particularly care for the sound of too much, so we'll see how these sound compared to that. But these are sort of typical Turtle Beach style, well, it is a Turtle Beach brand. But this is a gaming headset for like Xbox 360, Xbox One, all the consoles, because it uses a standard 4-pin 3.5mm jack, which this actually doesn't. That's interesting. Usually these headphones, they'll come with this, and then they'll have a breakout cable to give you these. This actually came with these cables pre-attached, and then gave you a breakout cable to bring it to that. That's different. So of course these have the headphone and the microphone, and it also has the USB for the power for the lights. There's no like USB amplification or anything like that. That's very stiff. That's it almost feels like memory foam, but with no give. Whereas these are at least pretty soft. And I do have a powered USB hub here, so let's see what the LED light looks like. It glows. I mean, fair enough, I suppose. That's about as advertised. What's the mouse look like? Yeah, as I suspected, it's just a color change LED. And what's funny is you could actually see, as you move it, you could see the red shining through of the optical pickup. So I guess let me turn the computer on and I'll try and test these. Okay, so I would like to point out, I'm aware there are far better ways to test the quality of a mouse. But for something like this, I don't feel like putting in that much effort. I know you could grab a ruler, you could do a proper measurement of the DPI. I don't feel like doing any of that. What I am going to test is the polling rate of this mouse versus my standard mouse that I use for most purposes and the gaming mouse. And that's what you're seeing on the screen. So we'll start with the cheap one, and you just move it as fast as you can. We're getting a poll rate of about 125. Now that's a wired mouse. Poll rate 125 Hertz. This, which is not meant for gaming in the slightest, about the same, 120, 125 or so. This one's wireless, so it's probably going to be a little bit lower. But now this one is wireless, but it's made for this purpose of very fast polling rates. So you move this around the same way, you're getting 460, close to 500. So that tells me that this is pretty much just your typical sort of mouse that just feels really cheap. I mean, the clicks actually feel pretty good, and the scrolling, all buttons work. So it's not too bad, but it's not really up to task as a gaming mouse if you're sensitive to those sort of lower speed polling. I mean, it's just night and day difference. And as I said, this one's not made to be anything too special. There we go. And of course, that also depends on your mouse pad and all kinds of variables. But suffice to say, this feels like a cheap mouse. It performs like a cheap mouse. So I will come back and we shall take a look at the headphones. Okay, so let's take a look at the headphones. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to have too much visual to provide in this part, so I don't know. Look at my mouse. But I will try and gauge about how they sound. It's going to be a tough one because sound is very objective. But usually if you get a pair of headphones that are very cheap, you can tell they're very cheap and everyone can tell they're very cheap. So hopefully my subjective opinion of what these sound like will suffice as some kind of clue as to whether or not they're worth getting. I will start. They don't feel like they're going to break in half immediately, which is surprising. They do feel cheap though. I mean, it's all hollow plastic and it's that like rough texture. They don't have a very nice seam. And they're very cheap headphones, but they do glow, and that's the most important thing apparently. When I got these, you can get them where they are red and glow red, or you can get them in blue. I don't have anything else to say, so let me just put these over my ears and see what sort of thing I'm hearing. Well, first let me get an idea of the fitment. That might be about right. Oh, they feel horrible. There's no give at all. Okay, so I have made some observations about the sound quality of these headphones. There's good and there's bad. The good is it actually doesn't sound horrific. It sounds about on par with the Turtle Beaches. The Turtle Beaches are probably just a little bit better. The negative side is the left channel is about 25% quieter than the right channel. And I tried it with different music. I tried it with 2 different DACs. I even pulled out my my FIO sort of USB DAC that puts out a decent amount of power, and this thing will overpower these headphones to no end, and the left channel is still way quieter. And I dropped the sound of the right channel by 25%, and that made it sound more or less centered. So the sound quality isn't bad, but these ones are defective. I don't know if they're all that way, or if it's just these ones. Maybe that's why Ollies is selling them cheap. The last thing I can think to test would be the microphone. So let me record a bit of audio on the microphone on this and see what the microphone sounds like. Maybe that'll be a saving grace. If you want to record your voice but don't want to listen to anything, I don't think they're worth $15. But let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so this is a test of the microphone on the cheap pair of headphones at 100% volume. Judging by the waveforms, it doesn't seem like it's picking up much. Okay, so hopefully it came across on that audio clip. The microphone in these is awful. That was 100% volume, pretty much as gained up as it could be. And that was with this microphone like right up against my mouth. I could barely hear anything. So, my final thoughts on these, as you could probably imagine, these aren't worth the $15, even though they glow blue. That's supposed to be a feature. This, for $5, I mean, it's a cheap mouse. It works like a cheap mouse. Don't expect perfection. But if you need another mouse, or you want one to carry around with your laptop or something that kind of looks stupid, pick it up. I mean, why not? And that changes colors, and the light from the sensor bleeds through into the glowing spots here. So that's all well and good. I wouldn't particularly recommend either of these. So if you see them at Ollies, or you see them on eBay or online, or I'm sure people are selling the exact same things at flea markets and stuff if they're actually open. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was informative at least. I certainly had a little bit of fun. So thank you for watching. Major Jip, signing out.